Hello everybody, welcome back to The Common Theory, the internet's #1 competitive Pauper EDH podcast, and other things like 60-card Pauper, and I don't know, sometimes CDH, but...
We'll talk about CDH soon. Because Gator's finally back into CDH, so we're good. And I finally rejoined the Tabletop... Was it Tabletop Bangers Discord?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Top Tier Bangers, that's who it is.
Top Tier Bangers, yeah.
Yeah, so I finally joined their Discord, so I'm going to try to play some games. Now that Love Island's going to be over by the time that this goes live. So I finally have time.
Oh my god, dude. You and my girlfriend both. Jesus. It's like Love Island and 90 Day Fiancé. It's the only thing that's happening in this household right now.
Bro, Love Island is like the funniest show ever. Like, as someone in a very healthy relationship, it makes me so happy knowing that I never made any of these mistakes.
I mean, I feel the same way about watching 90 Day Fiancé, and like, I am not ashamed to admit that I watched that show. That shit is top tier comedy.
Oh my god, it is
top tier. Yeah, it's incredible. And like now, it's funny because we've been watching the show since COVID, so now I'm like, because I'm like, I don't consider myself like a hardcore fan or watcher of the show because I watch all these. I watch plenty of other shows. There's other things. I'm not even a big TV guy in general, but now it's been long enough. Since COVID, and it's like we're like 5 years past COVID, which is also nuts. But I'm like, yeah. I know all these storylines now for like 5 years ago. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like ingrained in this. I'm in it. Oh no.
Anyway, so
how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really great. Like I said, Love Island's almost over, so I can finally play more games at night.
There you go.
But it's just been great, just spending nights with my wife. And like a whole bunch of my other friends is watching the same show. What you're supposed to do. Enjoy life with friends.
Yeah. Do you guys have you make like a party out of it? You like
yeah, we do a Discord watch party on the Slipstream Discord.
That's cool.
Peacock, I don't do anything illegally.
You wouldn't download a car.
Oh no, I would never download a car.
Never downloaded anything in my life, honestly.
Actually, speaking of downloading stuff, I need to go watch K-pop Demon Hunters because that's a movie that everyone keeps talking about.
I have heard the same. Eric Chum, his partner Alexios was like, "Yeah, you should watch it."
Yeah, like all my friends love it. I don't know, like I just haven't seen it. The animation looks alright because I think it was done by Sony. So
yeah. I mean, it looks crisp. Not my favorite. I like the hand drawn stuff, but that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, barely.
I know you didn't ask me about myself, but I'm doing.
I was going to. It sounded like you were going to start. I was like, "Oh, Rohan, how's your day?"
Working a lot, but at the same time, finding time for some 60-card Pauper. Been playing a lot. Getting ready for the Upstate New York Pauper Open, which is the beginning of the second week of August. It's August 9th. We'll be there with Aaron, our very own Aggro Aaron. Will be joining me. Hopefully not drinking too much, or maybe hopefully drinking too much. I don't know. Go either way.
Only if you get more sleeves out of it.
Yeah, we will. And if we do, we'll have to make some Patreon exclusives at Aaron's expense. Thank you, Aaron. We appreciate you. But been playing a lot of Pauper. Paupergeddon was last weekend. I was house sitting for my parents last weekend, and upside of that is because they live out in the woods and there's nothing else to do. I got to watch a lot of pretty much all of Paupergeddon both days.
Nice.
Which was sick. One of our locals in Jersey City, he actually flew out to Italy to play. He got dusted in the main event, but in the side of it, he did great.
Now, let's be honest. Sometimes it's winning the side events the real victories.
Yeah. Well, there are two side events. Well, there were multiple side events. There were like two pre-side events. One was like the top Pauper player, and one was I forgot what they called it, but it was like the alternate event or whatever, like alternate deck event. And then there was a post-game event, like a redemption arc event after Swiss, and he did pretty well in that. I think he went like 4-2, and then got hungry and then dropped, but he could have kept going.
Oh my god!
It was like late in the day, and he bought. It was really cool. He was telling me he was like live streaming when he was there and like showing the whole gang. Like we have a Discord for a local group and stuff, showing all like the booths and everything. It was so cool. He also, he is Italian, born in Italy, and speaks Italian, so he's got that going on. It's makes sense why he would be there. He was like, dude, check these vendors out. They sell like pre-made Pauper decks but then also you can give them a deck list, and they'll edit like the decks that they have to fit your deck list with their bulk, and sell you a deck, like a finished deck for like €30.
That's crazy.
Which is sick. So he bought Persistent Petitioners. He'd never played before. He bought it and then went 4-2 in the Redemption Arc event.
That's crazy. That's
yeah.
Exactly. You see, I would feel so much better about that than maybe winning the entire event, but not really. You gotta just like huff the copium enough, but bro, going 4-2 with that, with like a deck you never played,
crazy. It's sweet. I mean, he's a very good Pauper player. He's like very entrenched in the format. He's been playing for a very long time. He's one of the best players in our local group, and so he's played against the deck many times, both locally and on Moto. So he knows what he's doing. So look, no offense to the Petitioners players out there. I don't necessarily think that deck is the most difficult one to pilot. So
no, they have to hold on to something, bro. You can't be that mean.
They're gonna hit us up now in the comments and be like, "Fuck you! That deck is impossible."
It's like, no, we're the real mono blue players. We're not Delver or Terror.
It's like astrophysics. Are you kidding me, bro?
It's like you have to do math.
It's like, don't talk to me about astrophysics. I play familiars.
That's awful. But at least Delver does well. I have the Delver's deck, right? That was literally the first Pauper deck I built.
Delver's solid. I mean, mono blue.
I don't have the luck for Delver.
Very good.
I literally do not have the luck for Delver. Anytime I cast a mental note, it's like, oh, no, here's the 3 most important cards of your deck. Bye.
Oh, I just milled all my terrors? Cool. I guess I'll just lose.
That's literally me. All right, so back for part 2 of the CPDH tier list. Mm-hmm. So when we left off, we're actually back to arguably the second best deck in the format, or one of the best decks in the format. Gretchen Twitchwillow.
I'd probably put it in the second slot. You know, the differences between all three of those decks is marginal.
Yeah, so just for newer viewers, Gretchen and Lore Weaver, Ley Weaver, both of those decks are basically the same deck, where you're slapping on land doors onto your lands, untapping them, generating infinite with Freed from the Real, and all the different Freed from the Real variants. What you're swapping out between the two commanders is Weavers gives you the consistency that you're always going to have a land and tapper. 100%. Gretchen is the slower, grindier version of Weavers. It's a little bit more resilient, but Gretchen does have the one advantage that Weavers will never have, which is an instant speed way to win without any board presence. As long as you're able to make enough mana with the Aboro Breezecaller line, you just win. Weavers, unfortunately, does not have it, and I don't think we'll ever play Strider Harness in that deck.
Now that Aboro Breezecaller is getting played in CDH, it's time to ban it.
I don't think that'll happen. I am happy, so happy that the Pauper RC just is not going to ban any card in this format.
I'm pleasantly shocked that, when I first saw that card in a CDH tournament, I was like, oh, wow, okay, Pauper, we in here. Damn, yeah, Gretchen is very good.
It's like, oh, yeah, I guess we're just playing was it PDH win lines in here. It's like, oh, you're playing Banishing Knack. You're playing a Burrow's Breedcaller. The Malcolm player has Reckless Fireweaver. Okay. Yeah, so Gretchen, S tier for sure. Because, again,
great. Yeah.
Instant speed way to win. Super resilient. It's in great colors.
Walks most things with a 2-mana creature.
Oh, my God. She has a giant butt, too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. It's a 0/4. She ends up dodging, most common forms of removal. So, all the board wipes. She has 2 more toughness. John and Sorrow, again, 2 more toughness. Just being over 2 toughness is a godsend.
Only costs you 4 to recast it, and you have a zillion untappers and lands that tap for a gajillion mana.
You don't even need to cast Gretchen. That's the funny thing about it.
And you don't have to. But you don't have to, but you can. And you can just all right, someone's swinging at you with a Dargo. You're just all right, I'll just block with Gretchen.
I'll take 3. Yeah, it's I'll only take 3.
Yeah, I'll take 3. Great, cool. Thanks.
On the opposite side of the toughness scale, we have third pass Iconoclast. So TPI is a deck we haven't really seen all too much. I think it won a Rags to Riches last year. And then, yes, Disciple of the Seat won the second one. But I believe that version of TPI was the more Storm version of TPI, where you're sacrificing all the soldier tokens that it generates, puts them into...
Playing Ashnod, Salter.
Yeah, plays Ashnods, the energy refractor, so they turn into different mana. So you're actually doing something with your token. Mm-hmm. And that's the version that we're going to be talking about, because that's the better of the two. The mid-rangey...
The correct version.
Yeah, the mid-rangey, whatever version is just that. It's mid-range, whatever
It's fine, and my argument is like, what is that deck doing that Arabella isn't?
Yeah, that's so awful to say, but yeah, because
right? I mean, like
that's a beautiful thing about Izzet.
Go wide token pingers. There's a deck that does that, but better.
Yeah, because like we're gonna have a couple other Izzet decks on here because no shock to anyone, Izzet's probably the best. It's the best color combination in this format.
Yeah.
Next is Simic, but like you just have so many things to do. You have a whole bunch of spell pingers, and you have a whole bunch of card draw. I'm gonna say it again for every other Izzet deck. You just storm through your deck and you just end up winning. Yeah. So I think at least the Storm variant can't be lower than a B.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that's interesting is that this deck got a lot of new toys in the past few sets, actually, with like
oh my god, that's right, it gets Rook Turret.
Yeah, Rook Turret, which is insane. Mysidian Elder, like it gets a bunch of things. Like it's not like a ton of stuff, but I think it's enough. I think it's enough stuff. I mean, like yeah, Rook Turret alone is wild for this deck. It's very cool, especially once again we're talking about the Storm variant. That card's insane in that variant of the deck.
No, and it does exactly what the deck wants to do, which is churn through the deck. Everything. You're just filtering out all of the lands that you're drawing into.
It's a crazy enabler. Yeah, I think that this deck. So hear me out. I think it's probably a B. However, there's a build of this deck that I think is an A. I just haven't seen it yet.
Same until it actually appears. I think it's just kind of stuck in B. But again, if you're able to hit Rook Turret super early, just churn through your deck, hit all the 1-drops, like 1-drop cantrips, and then again, just keep going through it, you're set for life. Unfortunately, there's another deck on this year list that just does that naturally. And we'll get to it eventually. All right, so Alexios, the slicer of our format. I wish I could say nicer things about it. Like we can get turned to Alexios without a problem.
I've seen this deck look really scary at a table that I'm not scared of any deck sitting there. Does that make sense?
Unfortunately.
Like at a deck that's like all like Timmy decks, right? Like these like slug you in the face, or even just like super slow grind decks that are just kind of like waffling around, you know, doing whatever, but have no inevitability.
Yeah.
That like Alexios will run roughshed on all those players.
Yeah, and they're happy to have your Alexios because that means you're able to actually do damage.
But like outside of a table that looks like that, to balance the Alexios, what are you going to do about it?
Recast Alexios and cry.
Cool. Like, enjoy that, right? Like, we'll bounce it. We'll repeatedly kill it. We'll do whatever. Like, there's just too many ways to interact with it. At best and at worst, just like you said, he's actively helping decks like Pinger decks. I'm now like, I feel like half of this top tier are Pinger decks.
I mean, anything that's not Simic or super very blue, yeah.
There's just so many Pinger decks and decks that can easily hit the whole table that Alexios is just out like an agent of chaos that's helping everybody else more than it's helping you.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it too much.
I saw a really funny phrase on Reddit today that was a comment on a card that was spoiled for EOE. It was, oh, great, another lose more card.
Oh my god, which one?
It's some card. It's like a commander card that like lets you cast like any spell, you know, out of your. It lets the first spell over 5 or something CMC that any player casts be cast for free. Like something ridiculous.
All right, hold up. Let me find it. All right, so Weft Walking is a 6-mana enchantment. When this enchantment enters, if you cast it, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards. The first spell each player casts during each of the turns they may play without playing their mana cost. So it's an omniscience for the first spell for everyone.
The first part is actually cool. An omniscience on an enchantment, that's cool. That you can flicker and do broken stuff with. The second part is way less cool. The second part's like, oh crap, I'm gonna lose.
Why would I want to give everyone else a free omniscience? That sounds awful. After I wield them, no, because what's going to happen is someone's going to go ad nos.
Yeah, or any number of crazy stuff. But anyway, it's like the comment. The card is whatever. It's the comment on the card in the post that was like, oh great, another lose more. You know, I was like, oh man, because you hear win more all the time, right? But lose more, I was like, huh, yeah, okay. I like that as a concept, and I never thought of that in that way. I mean, it makes total sense. But like once again, I think Alexios is cool as hell, and I love the design of the card. I think it's one of the coolest commander designs that we've gotten for an uncommon in a long time. I think it's sick. It needs more stuff in red, I think, for it to be truly good. It needs ways to basically protect, or like colorless equipments that can help really protect the commander. Like if we had equipment that gave hexproof, or that gave more, equipment that gave indestructible and that wasn't like crazy overcosted in Pauper, he would be great.
I don't think they can print that in common.
But they'll never print it. Exactly.
Yeah, the best we got is leather armor.
Yeah, or like, yeah, exactly. Or even something that just gives Shroud, but nothing else. Like, we're not looking for Swiftfoot boots, but just Shroud.
I think there is something that gives Shroud.
But it has blue pips.
Oh, never mind.
Suit. So, you can't play in red. But like a fully colorless gives Shroud, I mean, that would be sweet. So there is design space that exists that has not, the cards aren't there yet, but it could one day be sweet. But for right now, it's just highly interactable. And also, like, the other thing that would make it, I would put it at a higher tier level, is if the CMC was one less.
No, I think unfortunately, design-wise, I think 4.
I think it has to be right. It has to be there. I get it, especially if you're like for like limited. If it was, if it was undercosted by 1, it would just be too strong. So like, I understand, but I'm just saying for the sake of this format and what we're trying to do with the commander, it would need to be cheaper, or we would have to have more support for it. But until then, I'm never going to be scared of this deck. And in fact, if I'm playing, my main deck, my Malcolm Breaches deck at a table, and I see this card sitting there, I'll be like, hell yeah, great, that's sweet. I can just, because at that point I can be like, I know for a fact I can sandbag, right? I can say I'm never going for the combo. I can just repeatedly say every round I don't have it. And even if I did have it, I wouldn't even try going for it. I wouldn't even get close. I would just...
You don't have to.
I would do nothing, and I'd put up pingers, and I would just play draw spells and play draw go until I win.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has to focus you down, but then you just go like, guys, why are you focusing me down?
I have no commanders. I got a couple pingers, and that's literally all I have on board. I've got nothing. I have literal nothing. Hit me, kill me, and lose.
Yeah, that's like the best way to go about it. Yep. And again, that's a bigger problem with Alexios, is that people can politic around Alexios. Oh my god. Oh yeah, so the biggest weakness against Alexios too is if there's one guy at the table, one person at the table who tells the rest of the table how trample works. If they say, oh yeah, did you know that trample, you can just assign all the damage to the creature. You don't have to assign the over damage to the player. That's it. Alexios is done for. Someone told me that, and I was like, yes, I know how trample works. I plan to never use that. I plan to use all the excess damage to the player, because that's how the card is intended to work.
That's pretty rough. That's pretty rough.
Moving from Alexios, let's talk about another commander that has trample that actually makes me happy. Dargo Keskit. This is probably the best Rakdos deck in our format.
I agree. Highly underplayed.
It's also fairly complicated.
Highly underestimated. Extremely fun. I don't know. This deck is sauce, honestly.
Yeah, like you're drawing a million cards.
So sick. It can win out of nowhere. It can win super fast, right? Which is it's so sweet.
Yeah, my favorite thing is just you have Dargo as both the combo piece, and he's just Dargo in our format, so you can just punch people in the face.
Yeah, and I used to think that this deck has like no resiliency. It's just a turbo deck. It really just comes down to how you build it. Like you can build it like super, super ultra turbo with no resiliency, but the best probably builds that I've seen of it are somewhere in the middle. Like they can turbo out, but they can also grind. And there's so many good grindy cards that draw a ton of cards in Rakdos now. You don't care if your commanders die, you bring them back, you can flicker them in, great flicker them, you do all sorts of busted things to keep them alive. I think this deck needs more pilots.
This one honestly does. Because, again, like, Rakdos only has every single Deadly Dispute in the format that exists. Mm-hmm. And every set, we keep getting a brand new Deadly Dispute and a brand new Throw a Possibility. This deck uses all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, like plus with, like, Mycelian Elder.
Oh, yeah. Mycelian Elder is so good in here. Even like, cornered by black mages is maybe not the worst. And we're still going to get way more artifact synergies in black and red. I mean, across the board, but especially in black and red.
Yeah, and in Edging Till Eternity, we're getting a lot more. That's the name of the set. That's what they called it.
Yeah, it's a sweet deck. All right, placement-wise, this is tough. I
want to put it in A, but we need more pilots for it.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, I really want to put this deck in A because I think it's got the stuff. I think it has the sauce. And when I do see this deck get played, I feel like it's got like a 50-50 chance of winning.
And it doesn't really have to do that much either. I mean, if it ever gets, again, the combo pieces like the Burnt Offering or the Thermal Pod, you're just dead. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, that is the downside, right? Its combo is highly interactable. It is. It is quite easy to interact with, but the grind plan is also real with this deck, so you could just burn people out with pingers. So I think it's probably in the same spot as TPI at the end of the day, where it's like, all right, probably top of B until someone comes in and just like repeatedly starts wrecking shop. Because right now it's like there are a few dedicated players of that deck, but they show up once in a blue moon, or they're playing other decks and they'll maybe pull this deck out, and they'll win with it, and then it'll just like get put back on the shelf for like another 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, and just remind people that it's a good deck. Like, hey, all right, I got my one. All right, we can retire again.
Yeah. There's a lot of that, I think, with this deck. Yeah, I think
solid
there. Yeah, and I think like probably I'm gonna guess like any deck that we feel has like top tier potential but is unproven, like really really feel strongly about it, will probably end up in the same zone or similar zone.
Yeah, that's how I feel about one of the decks all like towards the end of the list, where it's like it's really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to pilot it, so I can't say that it's top tier. Even though other people want to put an S, but I can't.
All right, next one.
Yeah, here's another deck that comes out of retirement every couple months, beats everyone up, and then goes away.
All right. I mean, yes and no. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think there are a few dedicated pilots of this deck. Maybe not solely dedicated to this deck, but they'll play like 2 to 3 decks, and this is one of them repeatedly.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for the people listening, we're talking about Gut, Truth of Soul, Zealot, and
Inspiring Leader. Yep. The Boros Gut build. Make a bunch of 6/3 menacing skeleton tokens.
And then once they're 6/3, they're unblockable.
And once again, this deck just keeps getting good cards. What's the goblin dude that you tap it creates another guy for the
Shock Brigade?
Dude, that card is so stupid in this game.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so the set before in Ether Drift, there was the one that you would saddle up the horse and then the horse will make a treasure.
Oh, yeah.
And then immediately got Power Crept the next set.
Yeah.
Because Shock Brigade, you swing with it, you say, I'm going to stack my trigger, so it's going to make the token first. Sack the token for Gut, swinging the skeleton.
You just get one free 6/3 menacing skeleton every turn without doing anything.
I wish that we had more Missing Elders. Just or like there's more ways to just make those 0/1 wizards.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Missing Elder is also sick in this deck.
It's probably the best common ever printed in this all year.
I didn't even think about it, and I haven't actually updated my list with Elder, but I think I should. It is the CMC is a little high for where the deck wants to be at 3, and it's like a little bit.
Yeah, but you have enough rituals.
I do think you play enough artifacts that it makes it good, because it is an artifact deck at the end of the day as well.
You play enough non-creature spells.
Yeah, and I've had this conversation with Gator, before over the past few months. I think this deck has actually gotten better in the past year because of the play patterns and how, like, I think it feasts quite well off of the pinger meta.
It does.
Everyone's hitting each other, right? Everyone's like group slugging each other down, and like life totals are all sort of like going down together. Like Arabella, and even then, it's not the worst thing in the world. all you do is kill the Arabella player. The Arabella player is pinning down the rest of the table. So the Arabella is tenderizing the table. You kill the Arabella, and then you just alpha strike the last two players in one turn.
Yeah, and that was the thing where I was going to say that, like, Gut doesn't care about Arabella because, like, the math works out where you always outrace their life gain. And then you just tempo out their little creatures because Gut is a tempo deck at the end of the day.
So I actually think that Gut's in a very, very good position and is quite well situated to the meta right now, because in a way it feels quite anti-meta.
That's really funny to say, but yeah. Because, again, the biggest conversation we always have with Gut is, like, what's better, single target damage or AoE damage? And right now, with everyone else AoEing it down, you just need to kill the one player that you need to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, AoE damage is better. It's true. Mm-hmm. Just, like, broad strokes, right? Like, you have no idea what you're playing against. Totally open tournament, right? You have no idea. You're probably better off going with the safer route, which is, hitting everybody. But if you know that the majority of the top tier decks are going to be playing that game, minus like sort of Weavers, Gretchen, whatever, Simic bullshit, like, then you bring Gut, right? And you're like, all right, we're gonna fight this pinger meta by just like focusing down each person one at a time, and there's nothing they can do about it because these pinger decks are just too slow.
Yeah, well, slower compared to Gut, because Gut.
Well, yeah, slow compared to Gut.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because Gut, I think I always forget the like theoretical best, which is probably like you beat everyone down by turn 6 or 7.
I think
it's written the primer, so I have to go look it up again.
Yeah.
And Gator's going to yell at me when he watches this. And he's like, no, I've told you so many times. You do 36 damage by turn 7. I'm like, sorry, bro. Yeah, where do you want to put it? Because, like,
I want to put it in A towards the bottom.
Yeah, I am feeling the same way, too, right now. Because, like, Gut handily beats every single deck underneath this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like, on par with, like, an Arabella or Zada.
Yeah, like, the only one who probably, like, really fights is, like, Larry. But Larry Gut is such a weird matchup anyway. Because they both have to help each other out, right? And then it just turns to when do they both pivot on each other?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Larry needs to hit the right cards to keep Gut under control, but Larry's board wipes don't do anything to Gut as long as both Gut and Leader are in play. So it requires Larry to hit the right stuff at the right time. Yeah,
because I guess Gut also kind of has like a problem against Abdel Blue, but he could just outrace it until you don't have to worry about Abdel Blue until turn 5 anyway.
Yeah, so against Abdel, like, once again, depends on the meta, especially. I'm putting Gut in A because of the way the meta is, like, because it's an anti-meta deck in the current meta. But in previous times, before we had all these pingers that got pulled, in the past year, really, right? Over a year ago, when we had half the number of playable pingers, I would have put Gut in B or C, because your top tier decks look different. They're like Weavers, Gretchen, Abdel, right? They're control decks. Weavers is a weird hybrid, but they're attacking on a different axis. And I think Gut's kind of bad into those decks. A table full of those decks. Like, you can kill one person, but you just lose to one of the other two remaining.
Yeah, because again, you need to have the tools to out-tempo them, but if you're just like going by yourself to like try to spot removal something, they'll have the protection for it.
I mean, if your table that you're playing at was like Weavers, Gretchen, Abdel Blue, and you're playing Gut, RIP. Like, you're screwed.
Oh yeah, no, because what sucks is you're forced to target that Abdel Blue first, and then pray to God the other two. Weavers. Yeah, and then pray to God that they just
you have to pray that they cannibalize each other. Yeah, exactly, and that's a terrible place to be, and you almost never win that. And funny enough, that was the meta like a year and a half ago. That's literally what all the tables look like.
Yeah, but now that it's a little bit more open, Gut can probably just come in and beat everything up.
Things look different now. Mid-range is loosely, I'm saying this very loosely, if we can call like a lot of this pinger burn you down over time thing mid-range, then that has become much stronger.
In the true sense of mid-range.
Yes, the true sense, exactly.
In the PDH sense of mid-range, no, every single pinger deck is technically a combo deck.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, like if we're like comparing to like a 60 card type thing, like the true sense of mid range, then they're mid range decks. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's move on to an actual well defined control deck.
Hard control deck.
Super hard control deck.
Yep. I don't know. You tell me. I have thoughts. You tell me what you think about this deck right now in the current meta, because I have thoughts about it in the current meta. Even though I think it's a very strong deck in general, like it's just like powerful, right?
Yeah, so it's a very strong deck. Just being able to control whatever creatures are left on the board. Because let's face it, you're going to burn all of your resources. Well, not burn all of your resources. You're going to spend a whole bunch of resources, making sure that people only have certain creatures on board. But the problem is that if your deck is not built to correctly regain all those resources back, or if you don't hit like your artifact lands when Erinis swings, so you can launch it again, you just run out of resources. And the one resource you cannot get back in the tournament game is time. Yep. This deck loses to the clock harder than almost everything else on this list.
I always see this deck go to time, all the time.
Yeah, and that's not good.
Nope.
Like the one thing that I love about PDH is, my game is done within 45 minutes. I can go enjoy life in between rounds.
Yeah, I think this deck just struggles with closing out games. Going back to the way the meta is right now, when we're in this like more go wide, more pinger style meta, I think the threat assessment becomes a lot harder. It's like, yeah, you can always like dish out on someone's commander, but now I think people have gotten a lot wiser to not just running your commander out. Like you can win without your commander at all. I mean, Dargo Kediss can win without Dargo, right? Like, yeah, it just plays a mid range game, and
all the really good decks can win without their commander.
Yeah, they can just play a mid range game and just like win that way. And like, what does Erinis Urchin do against that? You're going to kill literally everything. You're going to shoot everything down. Like you said, you don't have the resources. You literally can't. You have to pick and choose, and then eventually you just get burned down and die, or you go to time, where you control hard and go to time.
Yeah, again, there's a combo variant of Erinis Street that just goes and makes a whole bunch of tokens.
That is pretty cool, and like I'm more interested in that right now. I think that has a lot of potential, but like it's all theory until someone like really starts playing it a lot and smoke testing it and making changes. But I know Gator has a list, and maybe a few other people have like a variant of the Persist combo list. But like
but they're not around as often as they
really playing the deck. I don't know how well it's doing, if they've actually managed to like get a significant number of wins, or
it has. From what I've seen, Erinis has not really
it's a struggle
performed. Yeah, again, it loses against time. Like it's a really strong deck. I like it. I have a copy of it. Actually, Gator's going to steal it back from me later. Anytime I look at the PDH like battle box that we have, I just don't ever grab for it.
New big Timmy creatures are getting printed, and as more big Timmy creatures get printed, that deck does get better because that's what it uses to win.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah. I just don't know where to put it. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I think it's either I don't think it's any higher than C.
I have to see where we had it before, but I feel C's about right. Because again, it can't beat the clock.
In B or C, yeah.
Yeah, I think right now, because it can't beat the clock, and that is a big issue towards the deck, I don't think C's.
And like, once again, it's another deck that like, if I'm playing a pinger deck, I'm just not scared of. If I'm playing Dark Kediss, if I'm playing Malcolm Breaches, I'm not scared of this deck. I just stop playing my commander, and I just run out pingers, and I just chill.
Yeah, or you just stall out the game.
Yeah, and then their Erinis becomes the police, and anytime someone plays a threat, I'm just like, you deal with it.
Yep.
Kill it.
Yeah, that's the other political game that I always hate. That's the other political game I always hate is like, if you're playing this deck, be expected to be bullied to use your resources for no reason. And you will. Yep.
And if you're playing against this deck, you should bully them for them to use their resources.
That's why they're playing that deck. Yeah.
They're playing control deck, and everything's on board. Make them use it.
Here's kind of another stormy pinger deck. Glaring Fleshraker. Fleshraker did pretty well, I think, last year in Rags to Riches.
I think this is a cool deck.
It is really cool. Yeah, it gets to a certain point in the game where it will just do anywhere between 12 to 15 damage, and then run out of gas immediately. But it does that 12 to 15 consistently every game.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because we're in that pinger meta that we keep talking about,
more pingers. More pingers for the pinger meta.
Yep. Unfortunately, I think that's might just be good enough to just win like a couple games.
Yeah. I know. I think it's a cool deck. Once again, it's gonna keep getting more stuff. Like basically, it just wants cantrippy artifacts, right? And it's gonna keep getting that. It got like fried rice. No, the ramen noodles.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
It's gonna get stuff like that, and like ramen noodles instant speed now. So.
Oh yeah, no, and I got a candy trail from last year too, which is like one mana.
No, there's a bunch of cards that I got that are like, decent 1 and 2 mana artifacts.
Oh no, we got nutrient block.
Yeah, not having really relevant interaction is a pain.
Yeah, I mean, all the interaction is like permanent base 6 mana things like
Urn, Godfire Urn.
Urn of Godfire, which you kind of need to like help you go push through mana. There was another one. There's like an obelisk of something.
Yeah, and then there's a runaway boulder. Like
there's meteorite. So listen to this. Nutrient block. It's 1 mana, indestructible, which is really hilarious because it's hard tack. It has a food text of paying 2 mana, tap it, sack it, gain 3 life. When this artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card.
There's that new expedition map style card.
All the landers?
The world map.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think we're there yet with the deck, but if it gets a few more of those, you could play Tron.
Might as well play Tron.
You definitely should play Tron.
I don't know how we're going to get it in this deck, but who cares? I think you just put it in there.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, and it got the Avishkar Raceway.
Yeah, that's a great land. It's sick. This deck is super cool. It's got a lot going for it. It's just like the lack of interaction is like obviously hard. And it's just like I feel like that is hard cap on the deck. Like you can only be so good when you can't stop a win from a fast deck.
Yeah, but like I said, it does its burst of damage every I think turn 6 to turn 7.
It consistently does the thing.
And that's good enough. I don't know if we put it higher than C.
I think it's a C.
Again, because it's lacking colors, it's such a hard sell.
Yeah. But in the right meta and the right table, you don't have to interact. You can just put your head down and, drive forth and just win.
Yeah, that's true. Because there's certain tournament metas where that just does work. Yeah. For the stuff that we've been seeing, probably not at our tables, but that's a different story.
Yep.
All right, so next up, Vhal Agent. Unfortunately, we put the wrong agent art, but that's not my fault for naming 2 backgrounds in the same rarity that starts with the word agent. I've never played D&D, so I don't know what the difference between an Iron Thieves or Shadow Thieves.
Thieves and Iron Throne.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be Vhal Candlekeep researcher with agent of the Shadow Thieves.
Yeah.
So this is a Dimir feed from the real deck that will generate infinite mana eventually, and you will pay all that mana into a secret door and just go run through the dungeons. I don't think my biggest problem right now with Dimir is Shadowspinner exists, and why are we just not playing Shadowspinner?
Yeah, I mean, I think Vhal Agent is a sweet deck. I think it's quite good. I think, once again, it still suffers from the fact that there's only like 1 player, really, maybe 2 people who play it. It's like 1.5 players of the deck. And it's like only them iterating on it, and it's just not getting enough love.
I don't know. Like, if we're getting a whole bunch of tools, we can make Vhal bigger whenever we want. Because whatever tools we're putting in for Shadowspinner to make Shadowspinner bigger, we put it in Vhal Agent to make Vhal bigger.
It's true.
So Val's tapping for a whole bunch of mana.
Yeah, I mean, it is very resilient because Vhal can pump up,
Yeah, and Vhal has the 2 different modes. It has the Freed from Zero mode and the I'm going to punch you in the face and you're going to die mode.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, commander damages are a very real thing with this deck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think just for the modality between those 2, I think it's kind of hard to put it lower than C. I think B
it's definitely not lower than C. The question is it a low B or like a high C?
That's the real problem. And we don't have Gator here to like help us out with it.
Yeah, I mean, like I think.
But you know what?
I actually think Gator. I think Gator's pretty high on this deck.
Yeah, he is. But just looking at the list, I feel a lot better about this list compared to everything underneath it.
I mean, I would take that list over like a Xiaojun or an Erinis or Fleshraker. So I'd probably put it in a Lobby. I mean, honestly, I think right next to Sphinx is right because I think it's like around the same. It's like they're kind of similar in some ways.
Yeah, they both enable their own game plan, which is great because Sphinx Summoner will grab Pact Terror.
Mm-hmm. They're in similar colors. They kind of win around the same turn point. They're
like 7-8.
Yeah, exactly. Like a 7-8, like sort of best case scenarios, like 6-7, like. But realistically, it's like 8-ish, 8, not even 9.
Yeah, I think where we have it is like perfectly fine.
I think it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think it actually has gone up then in the tier list. I think last time we put it in a C.
I would have to check. I think we always left it in like B or C, so it's always been floating around between those two.
I think B is fine.
Yeah, but here's going to be probably the most sizzling hot take of today's episode. I don't think Wilson Far Traveler is that strong anymore, and this is like the definitive, truest mid-range PDH mid-range, the definition of mid-range deck that we have on this tier list.
Yeah, we've been high on this deck for a long time, partly because there's like one very strong player of the deck, and they are very good with it. It's like their number one deck. They've iterated on it forever. No one's really picked it up, and even then, Hive, who is like the master of this deck, has also been playing other decks.
Yeah. And like somehow Wilson Far Travelers has been dodging every single good upgrade.
Hasn't got a lot.
Yeah. And it doesn't really need enough. It just needs like one really good aura or like somehow find another aura tutor or just another really good E to B creature to blink.
Yep.
But just somehow it just hasn't gotten them. Mm-hmm. Somehow it's just been slipping further back and back because all these other decks are just getting brand new tools. Yep. Wilson just hasn't really got much.
Yeah, I've definitely seen this. I think I agree with you in that I've seen this deck struggling more lately. I think this deck was better positioned in like the previous year's meta before we had so many pinger decks. I think it preys on, the Gretchen Abdel Laylor table, like on like the 3 combo decks sitting there.
Like there's only so much a Voltron Bear can do.
Yeah, and even
at least has the extra tokens.
Actually, that's actually probably not a great table for that deck. But it'd be like one aggro deck and like 2 combo decks. Then
that's actually not that bad of a table because Wilson has the auras to stop activated abilities at least.
That's true. It has a decent amount of interaction. That's true.
But now it's just pingers everywhere. Like also, Wilson versus Arabella.
It's really great into like Dargos and things that are like trying to swing. It's good against other Voltron decks. That's one deck that I don't like playing against when I'm playing Dargo Kediss. Actually, it's actually really tough to play against for Dargo Kediss. The number of pacifisms in the deck is just like too high.
It really is.
It's so annoying.
But that's my take right now. Just that Wilson just hasn't gotten the love that it needs. Not from any of the players too. It's just straight from Wizards.
I don't know. I think it's in a challenging spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I think we could only slip it down one tier. I don't think it's gone enough to like.
I think I would probably put it in the upper C, like top of C.
Top of C.
It's still good. Like you can still C tier is still like you can take it to a tournament. You can still win.
I mean, like all these C tier decks.
You got to play cleaner and you got to play smarter.
Yeah.
And clearly, like they're like it's funny because like Wilson, Xiaojun, Erinis, like all of those decks, like Fleshraker, they've all won tournaments.
Well, not Loyal Inventor yet.
Except
it can do it.
But all
it has the ability
won
to
tournaments. Yeah, so they're still good. But they've also won tournaments with specialist pilots.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's super fun about the whole Voltron conversation we just had is that Kediss Esior or Kesior is a double Voltron deck.
Yeah.
But it has one special thing next to it, that it's a Kediss deck. And Kediss makes life so much easier because you don't have to worry about math. If you Voltron a single player down, you Voltron down the entire table. Esior giving both Esior and Kediss pseudo ward is amazing. So I think just from that alone, that and like just seeing the speed of this deck just killing people on like turn 4, turn 5 is insane.
Yeah. This deck is nuts. It also can play counter spells, right? I think the one thing it suffers from is that one, there's only like 1 to 2 people actually brewing it, and not a lot of testing. And because of that, the lists they haven't been figured out really. Because right now, I think they're trying to figure out like a balance between control and boosting, like buffing your stuff.
Yeah,
like, how many counter spells do you play? Because every counter spell you play weakens your game plan.
Yeah, that is the one big issue about this deck is that how many buff spells do we play? How many card draw spells do we play? Because you need to make sure both of these little guys get huge and fast.
Yeah.
Like blue, thank God, has all the spells that like change your base power and toughness from like however big Esior is, which is a 1/3, up to like a 5/5 or a 6/6 temporarily. Or just like Wings of Ellisville, turning them into a 4/4 with flying.
I mean, yeah, the tools are all there. It's just a matter of like figuring out the deck list. It's cool though. When it does the thing, it is brutal. But I've also seen the deck just not fine. It just finds like the half the deck you don't want to see.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough like that.
Like you draw like I've seen times where like the pilot will have only drawn control spells.
Oh,
You're lightning bolts in your counter spells, and you're like, crap.
And then you just start going,
what do I do now?
Easy. You play Bolt and then you Arcane Denial it, so you draw 3 cards.
Yeah, right. I think it's trying to figure out what it wants to do when it grows up still.
Yeah, I just don't know where to place it because it feels like compared to everything underneath it, I'd rather play Kessior.
I don't know. I think it's on the level of like a Wilson still. It's just like isn't there yet. It also hasn't proven itself in a way that all of those other decks have in B.
I guess.
Those decks in B have all won lots of stuff. They get played. They win all the time. And they're very scary. And I think Kessior is scary-ish. It's like it's good when the going's good. It's scary because it's like a bit random.
Oh, fair. That's fair.
Like it could kill me, or it could do nothing.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I constantly have to respect it whenever I see it at the table. It's like, if I ignore this, I will die. But if I also ignore it, I will still die to someone else anyway.
Yeah, but it's like, will it consistently absolutely destroy me?
Most likely.
The deck that does consistently put up the damage is Kediss Kelith, which isn't on here. But the problem with that deck is that it doesn't have the resiliency. So, Esior Kediss trades consistency for resiliency, which I think is the right choice in a tournament, but you are not killing as fast, and if you see, once again, you don't see the right cards, the right buff spells at the right time, you can take large chunks of damage, but you're not closing out the game.
Yeah, but it's gotten at least some buffs with like haste magic.
Yeah.
So I guess it is. So Heartfire Hero, I guess another Voltron deck. Because technically what you want to do is buff off the mouse to super high power. Mm-hmm. If any of your opponents kill it, they're all taking damage. So you're kind of putting them in this weird prisoner's dilemma of when do we kill the mouse?
Dude, I've seen so many people misplay against this deck so much.
How?
They're like, all right, I'm going to kill the mouse. And you're like, the guy's got like 7 mana up. What are you doing?
It's like, he's going to play all...
And they're like,
no, he doesn't.
Don't do it. And they're like, all right.
He's going to play all of his pump spells.
Like, all right, I'm going to give it +10. They're like, you idiot. What have you done? Like,
yeah.
You kill the mouse when he's got no resources. You kill it early, and then you kill it often, and then you outvalue. Like, you make it uncastable, and then they just lose.
Yeah. I think Heartfire Hero better than everything in D, because it actually has a game plan. It actually has a way to at least kill everyone, because Heartfire Hero, it's symmetrical. I think Heartfire Hero just lives at the bottom of C.
I agree with that. I mean, once again, it's still a pinger deck, right?
It's still a red deck full of pump spells. We just talked about Kessior, which we do this drop blue and put in more red and just go harder on no, we're going to make this Heartfire Hero huge. You're a little bit more focused.
I think it's good. I think it belongs there.
Yeah. All right. So we can go all day about
this deck. We've talked about this deck too many times. I think Scoot it past breaches. It's definitely a slightly better deck.
You know what?
I think that's accurate. That's fine.
We'll sandwich. We'll sandwich Malcolm Kediss in between the two Simic decks.
Sure.
Anytime we talk about a Pinger deck, we're talking about Malcolm Kediss. Anytime we talk about an Izzet deck, we're talking about Malcolm Kediss.
Yeah. Anytime we're talking about a fast combo deck,
it's Malcolm Kediss.
It just does it all, right?
Yeah, Malcolm Kediss can win turn 3.
It dices. Right?
It does everything. What we're trading basically from Malcolm Breaches is more speed and mana.
Yep, it's just a more explosive game plan. It can surprise people. Breaches is just wildly consistent. It will always hit a combo by turn 7. Always, every time. One of the 10 combos in the deck, and it'll be able to play it with multiple pieces of counterspells. But you're not winning until turn 7 at the earliest. Every time.
Malcolm Kediss. When the going is great, the deck is amazing. But sometimes I at least have to say this. Sometimes you just draw 18 cards outside of your draw step, never see anything. But you're controlling the table, you're drawing a million cards, you're still trying to ping people down. It has the consistency to just do whatever it wants. You can hand Malcolm Kediss to a brand new player, and they'll just win games. That's what really puts Malcolm Kediss over the top. That and the Curiosity Storm non-deterministic combo just feels great to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just has ways to win for days.
It does.
So
all right,
we'll keep that conversation short.
Yeah,
another deck that we've been talking about
quite a lot,
practically the entire time, is Horrid Shadowspinner. Anytime we're talking about another Dimir deck, this is what we're comparing it to. Anytime we're talking about a black control deck, technically we're also talking about Shadowspinner.
Yeah, this is our Wheelie Odd deck in the format.
I never heard of Wheelie Odd. That's a Phyrexian.
Exactly. Yeah, it's Azur's.
Because I remember it was popular for a bit, but here's our Wheelie Odd deck. Shadow Spinner is 3 mana. It doesn't technically draw cards, which is the other funny thing, because you're just drawing X and then you discard X, equal to its power. But you're in the best colors and the most focused colors to find whatever combo you need. As we were saying earlier with the Vhal agent, you can just make Shadow Spinner really huge. And you're going to eventually find all the pieces you need within 3 combat steps. What those combos are, I have no clue, because every time I look at the primer, I'm just is this what I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to do Drake Loop? I know there's another loop with Vault Plunderers, the end of it. Does a lot.
It's just super consistent, right? Because you touch your deck a lot.
Yeah, plus it has all the other natural draw spells in it. You can easily... The biggest problem with this deck is you need to practice the ever-living crap out of it. And I personally don't have the time to really dedicate to a deck like this. So it's a really strong deck. You just can't hand it to anyone, which is a problem. Because Gator wants to put this thing in S. I realistically can't do that because, again, if I hand this to a new player, they won't know what the hell to do. You hand it to me, and I've seen this deck a million times.
I don't know if that's necessarily the greatest way to judge a deck. I think the way we should be looking at these decks is a competent player who has practice with the deck playing it in tournament, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to someone brand new. So many of these decks, if you give them to a brand new player, they're gonna be what the hell? What am I doing? Right? Even Dargo Kediss, right? Which seems straightforward. You give it to a brand new player, they're not gonna know how to pilot the deck properly, and they'll lose.
Yeah, because we do say the story of we handed Dargo Kediss to a new player and they casted Dargo on turn 4 or 5, or
even if they cast it turn 1, but then they don't know, they'll just they get excited and they're I'm gonna pilot Dargo immediately, and the Dargo just dies over and over again. And they have no way of they didn't actually plan their resources properly to actually be able to recast them efficiently enough. It's a mess, right?
Yeah, but. Again, Shadow Spinner, super strong. You're going to find everything you'll ever need for that deck.
Yeah, I think it's sweet. I think the The only thing I don't like about the deck is that the finisher is the Drake combo, which I think is crap.
No, like I said, I know there's other loops, but
okay, I'm not familiar with it enough. Although the majority of the games that I've seen, like at least Gator win with, he actually is just beating people in the face with it, which is really funny.
Yeah, I mean,
viable.
It's huge and it has lifelink.
Yeah,
I mean, it starts off as a 2/3, and then eventually this gets bigger. It has flying.
Huge. Yep.
And the lifelink is keeping you in the game compared with like all the other Pinger decks that are around. Mm-hmm. That's all you really need.
I think it's good. Where do you want to put it?
Like I said, it's probably an A. From just like the normal strength that it has, able to consistently find its pieces.
Yeah, I think I'm cool with that. I agree. I think this is the raw power of the card is crazy. The deck has Dimir good stuff, which is all really, really strong. So
yeah, the mere good stuff used to be the meta like 3 to 4 years ago, but
now that good stuff has gotten way better.
Now it's just been more refined to exactly what Shadowspinner wants to be. All right, so moving on to Golgari good stuff in Silver's Cloakwood Hermit.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I will always be a fan of this deck, and I'll always champion this deck.
I sense a however.
Yeah. However, I don't know how to pilot this deck that well, because it is one of those decks where, like, if you make a single mistake, you are so far behind.
I think this deck is wildly difficult to play. I think it's like one of the most difficult lists to play, if not the most difficult deck, because you have to make a lot of hard choices. And if like you said, you make the wrong choice, you're screwed. And like your end game is like so grindy.
It honestly is, because I'm happy that the background helps power the commander, right? But the commander also says your opponent has a choice in what they give you. Like, they're either going to take the 3 life or they give you a card. Yeah. If you show your opponent a land, most likely you're going to get the land. But what sucks is, if you need a snuff out, you flip the snuff out, but the snuff out goes to the player that you need to use a snuff out on, you ain't seen that snuff out.
Yep. Also, like, yeah, it's also just slow. You know, like it doesn't close out quickly. It just because it's so grindy. I think it suffers from a lot of the same issues that Erinis Urchin has, in that it's much more likely to go to time and just drag out play a control game and just drag out the game forever.
Yeah, like
I've seen happen a lot.
You can only recast Gary so many times and not win. And I think I've had a game where I casted Gary like 3 to 4 times and still didn't end up winning. But
I mean, I remember playing a game with, I think it was with you and Chris, and I searched for an honored heirloom, and you guys were like, well, you can't win.
Yeah, because you just removed the one piece that we need in our graveyard that we're constantly getting back.
It's like, cool. I don't know. I would probably put it right next to Erinis. I think it's in the same world. It's just, it's good. It's powerful. It does powerful things. It's powerful cards, but it's just slow and can't close out the game.
Yeah, which is very similar to our next commander. Well, at least, you know what? Izzet Guildmage will close out a game. But it is slow.
It will. It has inevitability. It will win by turn 10 or but somewhere between turn 10 and turn 12 every game. But like turn 12 is really, really long.
I don't think I want to see any of these other decks make it out to turn 12. Because unless if it's like Malcolm Rock. Unless it's like one of the like super fast turbo decks making it out to turn 12 and then just something bad happened to them.
And this deck also has one massive, massive weakness that unfortunately for Izzet Guildmage players, Wizards just keeps giving us more of, and that is powerful edict effects.
Yep.
Can't deal with it.
Yep, like Wander Curse Marauder and you're done for.
And the other issue is that the decks that play those edict effects grave loop them. You're just screwed. Like, it's a bad time out here to be an Izzet Guildmage player, in my opinion. I think play the deck, and I think it's fun, and I think it's cool, and I think like what the card does is really cool, but I think it's ultimately quite bad.
Yeah, we have 2 other Izzet decks on this list that do cooler, better things than Izzet Guildmage.
Yeah, I mean it's still,
and one of them's like a straight up better upgrade.
And this makes me really sad to say, but I think it's to the point where we've consistently put this deck in D so many times in a row that I would consider dropping it off the list.
I think what people have noticed is we also did not talk about Tadiova at all. Tadiova's gone.
And you know what? I think Izzet Guildmage, honestly, is in the same power level and same unfortunate position as Tadiova. They're like they're decks from just a bygone era.
I don't think Tadiova's won a game since 2023.
They just don't cut it. Neither of these decks cut it anymore. Sad. I'm gonna pour one out for my homie.
It's a Friday, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, Hallow Marauder.
Okay, very interesting.
I'll want you to speak on it first, and then I'll say a few words.
I think this deck, the card in a vacuum is crazy powerful. Like, the actual Marauder card is dumb, right? It's wild how strong it is. But for the deck to do its most powerful things, it needs a lot. It needs all the right pieces at the right time. It needs it all, and it needs to not get interacted with. I think in a meta where nobody plays any Graveyard Hate at all, like Zilch, it is obviously significantly stronger, and it's like many of the times that is the unfortunate scenario. Like, a lot of people have just cut that from their decks because there's not a lot of like spell looping happening, graveyard looping and stuff. I mean, there's some, but it's not a ton. I mean, the black deck, actually, I think there's a lot more happening because of the black decks now playing those lists than people actually like think about.
Yeah, but we don't see Relic of Progenitus going around as often.
Them more often, but it's like, okay, I could play a Relic of Progenitus, or I could play another piece from my combo.
Yeah, I mean,
what's going to leave me more wins?
Yeah, but I still see like Nile Spellbomb and a whole bunch of black decks.
I mean, I hope so. But like Nile Spellbomb also does double duty, where it's like a shitty Ichor Wellspring. You can sack it to draw 3 cards, which is great.
Yeah.
So on its own, it's actually quite good for that. But I think Marauder is strong, but I think it's like you need to make sure, like, you need to make everyone hellbent, and you need to keep them there, and you need to like kill every single deck they put out.
And
you need to hit everybody until they're dead.
That's exactly my thoughts, because I've seen Gator play this deck too. I've seen a whole bunch of other people play this deck. Mm-hmm. And even though people are hellbent, all it takes is one top deck freed and they lose. Yeah. Just a single top deck ruins everything.
Yeah. And like, yeah, it's like, the argument can be made. It's like, oh yeah, well, if they their top deck freed, doesn't matter if I cast down all their untappers or if I edict all their whole board.
But you still lost, even though you
like answers, right? It's like, it's all what ifs. It's like, well, what if you drew the perfect answer to this thing that they're doing? Cool. And you just layer that every time. They're like, all right, well, then I'll do this. And then, well, I can have this. It's like, all right, sure, you have answers to answers to answers, but you have no universal answers. They're all specific. So it requires you to have all of it all at the same time. I mean, you are drawing a lot of cards. So also, I think people play against the deck very incorrectly.
Yeah, because honestly, just like a single counter spell into it is like...
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, if Marauders at the table and preventing you from like executing your game plan, your goal should be to kill the Marauder player. And everyone should just kill that guy.
Yeah.
And then you can play Magic.
Honestly, yeah. Like, if they're stopping you from playing, then just stop the thing that's stopping you from playing.
Totally. It's a stacks deck, right? Effectively. It's trying to play stacks, right? It's like PDH. It's trying to be a PDH stacks deck. What do you do with stacks decks in EDH? You kill the stacks player, and then you play a game of Magic.
Exactly. And that's the thing I was going to say, that, like, for this deck to work properly, you do need to draw everything at the correct time. You need to have the right removal at the right time, and that's just not realistic if you're, like, shuffling physical paper together. And even, again, I've seen people draw, like, 17 cards off of this Hallow Marauder, still fail to find anything meaningful. I'm like, crazy. Also, like, if green decks really wanted, like, hate on Hallow Marauder, they just tech in Night Soil, and then Hallow Marauder's never allowed to win ever again.
It's really funny. I love that card.
It's such a good card. Again, targeted graveyard hate, or, graveyard hate against the scene at the right time. Night Soil. It just has so many weird little things that just stop Hallow Marauder from doing its job that I just can't really like it. That, and, like, again, seeing Gator, seeing other players play Hallow Marauder and still not win after controlling the table for the entire game. You can't beat card draw. Like, they'll discard all the garbage cards that they don't want, hold on to everything they need. The rest of the players are discarding interaction. What can you do against that? Nothing.
Oh yeah, this just kind of popped into my head because I've been playing once again 60 card. If you're a Vizkopa Guildmage player out there and you ever go up against Hallow Marauder, make sure you tech Cryptic Incursion in your deck.
Oh no! So here's an amendment to Vizkopa. I've been bullied into putting it back up to C. I got nothing but like, oh, you know that we've improved the deck so much. I was like, this was before then. I wasn't paying attention to you guys, but sure, fine. Bully me into putting it up to C.
That's fair.
So yeah, they have Crypt Incursion in there. So
my response to the Vizkopa players is like, where are you? Play the deck more.
Talk to him in the morning. He's there.
That's true.
But yeah,
they're too busy playing better decks. That's what's happening.
Yeah, but honestly, because Hallow Marauder can't really win games and it's controlling the table and locks everything down, but still can't win. It's in D tier hell.
Really? I would actually put it in C tier.
All right, we'll put it up over here. Here's the thing, though. It will beat every other fair deck, right?
And that's something that a lot of these D tier decks can't do.
But that's the thing. Like, it's either at the very tail end of C or the top of D.
I think that's where it belongs. I think it's the tail end of C.
I don't know. It belongs in
still win games. It can still win games. It's still a very powerful card. And if you're playing it correctly against it, you all just kill the Hallow Marauder player and you go play Magic. That doesn't always happen. You know, you're not always blessed to be playing with the best players. You know what I mean?
I guess that's true.
And it's a deck that takes advantage of that. It's a deck that takes a huge amount of advantage over players making mistakes, not really knowing what they're doing. Like, if you're playing with, like, in a tournament, like, I think the Hallow Marauder player slips by the first 2 rounds, like, in a 5-round of Swiss or more. It slips through the first 2 rounds easy because it's playing against at least 1 or 2 noobs at the table can throw the game to the Hallow Marauder player.
Yeah, which is kind of bad to say, but unfortunately, that's the reality of it. I don't know how Rocco Street Cater is still on here. I think we just keep forgetting to take him off.
This list...
This fraudster is just...
Potentially cool. No one plays it. Total theory deck. Goes in D.
Yep. I don't know where five
color soup.
Yep, I don't know where it is anymore because
these are the same problem with Rocco. I mean, like, they were getting some play. You know, Bobby was able to do some stuff in a tournament one time. You know, and then like after that, like a few people were messing with the lists in different ways, and they've since petered off and have stopped playing them because they just kept losing. So
yeah, I just don't. It's 5 colors. It's actually just 2 colors plus splashing a third.
It had Brewer's Advantage for a while, and then people were like, "Oh,
you're just free from the real deck." Okay,
it's either Freed or Songs of the Damned. Okay, fine, I know what you're doing.
Yeah. All right, so here's my spiel for a bit. So how we were saying about Izzet Guildmage just not doing the thing, Melik does it.
Yeah,
at least it does it slightly faster. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem Melik has is being 6 mana, but I think it's fine. You still have enough for
it can just win. It is very consistent. Yeah, I mean, if you can't interact with Melik or you run an interaction against them on the winning turn, then you just lose.
Yeah, it also has a funny thing of like Brainstorm's like probably the best deck, probably the best card in the deck. In between stuff, like in between, was it your spells that are being copied resolving? Mm-hmm. You can still look at the top card of your deck and cast it in between copies.
I think it reminds me like the play pattern is just so similar to Scholar. I feel like it's a very similar deck. You know, they're just like control decks that chill until they explode out and just win.
Yeah, I think just dropping it at the tail end of B is fine because, again, I like it. It's like Scholar, just costs 1 more mana, is an extra color.
Yeah, in my mind,
blue plus red.
It's Scholar, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That and like blue plus red is like the best color combination in here.
Combo. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so have you seen Tainted Observer yet?
I have.
Thank God.
Yeah. Love it. It's cool. It's cool. I've never lost to it. But it's cool.
That's awful.
To be fair, I've gotten very close to losing to it. It was like I either go off or I just die. Like every time I play against this deck, it's like I win like on a razor's edge. It's super cool. It's a sweet deck. I also have seen it do a lot of nothing.
Yeah, because like it mostly does need to find the brute scale, and if not, it's kind of rough out there.
And also, it's like fairly interactable. Like it's pretty easy to interact with. Yeah, it's cool.
But I love it. It's great. It's still
very cool.
It's the best
poison deck.
You know what? It's actually technically the third best Simic deck.
It's the best poison counter deck.
I just don't know where we drop it in C. Actually, yeah, that's what I like about it. That you just have to hit each player once and then you're good. Or you play the one instant that randomly gives everyone a poison counter. It's Introduction to Phyresis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think just actually right there, smack dab in the middle of C is perfectly fine.
I think that's fine. I personally probably put it like maybe a couple like below Fleshraker, but I mean whatever. These tiers are very loosely ordered anyway inside the tier. But yeah, I feel like it could be moved up in C eventually, but like once again, more people would have to play it. I feel like the deck list needs a little bit more time to cook.
Yeah, I mean, Simic is getting a whole bunch of good tools. Green is finally getting like more Malevolent Rumbles.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the Pauper cards in the new set. I don't know if they actually have. I know there's some proliferate cards. I don't know if there's any at common.
There's a few.
At common?
Yeah, like what was it? There's Experimental Augury.
No, in the new set.
Oh, I don't. Is Proliferate back in edging?
Yes.
All right, cool. We will go through it with our friends when the full followers are out. We'll do a set review with them. All right, next. Yeah, here's another Izzet deck. It's Emperor Palamecia / Master Lord of Hell.
Seems good.
It really is.
Seems like it just add a ton of damage. Seems very fun.
Yeah, because by the time it flips, it's already a 6/6 naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you should have like anywhere between 6 to 7 just instants and sorcerers naturally in your graveyard by then.
Yep.
From just playing cards, surveilling them away, your graveyard's going to be full. So you're beating people down by like again turn 7 by the time it flips, or by the time you already win because you're doing 7 to 8 damage every combat.
Hits everybody. It does the Kediss thing.
Yeah, which is
cool.
Which is great. That and like if they kill it, you don't care. It only costs 2 mana to begin with.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a mana dork, so you cast your first 4-drop spell on turn 3.
Very good. Very cool card. Hasn't put up any numbers or anything because
it's still too new.
Brand new. So I think for that sake, probably goes to top of D tier for now. Until I mean, it's a holding spot because we don't really know what the ceiling is for this deck.
No, but it's in this format.
The floor is
it's with a real game plan already built into the commander.
The floor is high, which is great.
Yeah. Again, poor
is unknown.
Yeah, poor Izzet Guildmage. Poor bastard can't get anything working. But yeah, Emperor Palamecia again super low for right now. Don't worry about him.
Potentially anything could be anywhere.
Yeah.
So you should go and brew it.
For the people brewing Emperor Palamecia, please, for the love of Christ, put creatures in it. Because I was told earlier today that there's like a couple builds with it that only run like 1 or 2 creatures. And I'm like, why would you do that? We live in a world that has a Curse Marauder. We live in a world that has a whole bunch of edicts.
Play it as a pinger deck. Pinger is a good stuff. You play it that way, you can't lose.
The commander is a pinger and a mana dork.
Yeah.
Like, it tells you exactly how to build it.
Yeah,
you just need more of those.
Pinger is a good stuff.
Yeah,
if you want to play Izzet mid-range pingers instead of playing TPI, you should play this deck. It's probably better. So, yeah. I mean, this deck's potentially an A-tier deck, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, like I probably should have put Black Waltz number 3 in here, just to say like, oh yeah, it's another Rakdos pinger deck, but
yeah, probably should go in here.
Also, yeah, we'll probably throw it in D as well. Just that I don't feel that Black Waltz number 3 is quite as good.
No, and the CMC alone includes.
Yeah, it being 4 mana. It being 4 mana is so hard to deal with. Yeah, because you would need rocks to ramp into it, and then you need to use your lands naturally to cast Black Waltz number 3, and then you need to use your rocks to cast spells right immediately after to fire them off to at least keep it alive. And then finally, our final honorable mention is Tannoch. Emissary of something. I'm going to go re-say that afterwards because I have to look up his name.
It is Tannoch Memorial Ensign.
It's a 3-mana 2/4 with a landfall. Whenever land you control enters, Tannoch deals 1 damage to each opponent. If this is the second time this ability to resolve this turn, draw a card.
I think the craziest thing about this card is the fact that it's a Kavu pilot. Kavus can pilot ships? I thought they were just like monsters.
That's very specious of you.
What is this shit, dude?
They're in space, bro.
Isn't it like a big angry lizard monster?
All right.
They can talk now? They can read?
So I hope you understand that the force of gravity on whatever plane they're on holds their souls down. Once they reach into space, their soul is free. These are space-noid Kavus. They're not Earth-noid Kavus.
It looks like an orc or something. You telling me that's a Kavu?
Yeah. It's really cool. Was it? I think this deck has potential, right? Because
cool.
we have Snake Umbra. So if you slap a Snake Umbra on this, you're drawing cards. All of your ramp spells deal double damage, basically, or actually triple damage, because you have all the spell pingers that's going to ping off of the spells being cast. There's that new cactus plant in Final Fantasy Sabotender that basically has the same exact ability without the second half. I think what really will help push this deck over compared to most of the other stuff that's down in D is just the fact that you can draw a card.
Yep. Use an engine without doing anything in colors that don't really draw cards.
I think that's just good enough.
That's good enough. Even one card turn in these colors is good enough.
Again, like you just need to find your lands or you need to find your ramp spells.
Yep. I think it's very good. Fetch lands, crazy good in this deck.
Yeah, what's funny is that when I was talking to Lotad about it, this is one of the very few decks where finding your fetch lands early is really bad. Which I think just for that is really funny. Yeah, you have to mull them away because you need to have real lands until you have your commander out, and then you can look for your fetch lands.
It's very silly.
So dumb. Yep. Until this deck sees a lot more play and we can actually talk about them and go like, oh my god, I actually lost a Tanic a lot more. In D, just as like an honorable mention, it goes.
Yeah, the idea of having a Gruul spell slinger, but all your spells that you're slinging are like just ramp spells is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's only like a million of them.
Yeah,
so.
and then your top end are just like, I guess, beaters, big scary things. Because you have 1 million mana, you need something to do with it. So
yeah, that and like the stats on this guy is nothing to joke about either. It's a 2/4.
Yeah, and you can also play like I'm guessing you play things like Rolling Thunder and things to like big burn spells to hit the whole table.
Yeah, you do because I saw Fireball in there, so
yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, it's a whole bunch of big mana decks, so sweet. Yeah, we're
Sweet.
good.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so you could actually just play it as a burn deck too.
Yeah, you can.
Big mana burn deck. It's like lots of ways to build it.
Yeah, very cool. So with that, everyone, that's the tier list for this quarter. Hopefully, we should have the next one out before the end of the quarter actually finishes. Yeah. So Rohan, any final thoughts?
No, but you know where to catch us. You can follow us on YouTube. We are on Discord. Come check us out. We're also on Patreon as well as Instagram, TikTok. And am I missing anything? I think that's
Twitter and Blue Sky, but I'm mostly on Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Yep. And next week, I think I have to go check the release schedule because next week should be. Well, in 2 weeks from now, we're gonna do the set review for Edge Until Eternity, but. That's what the set's called. It's called Edge Until Eternity.
Sure it is. All right.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Yep,
You're released from the Edge. Thank you for watching. And if you want to support the channel, please subscribe and join the Discord in our link below. And become a member over on our Patreon.
Shout out to all of our patrons. Eric, Cobraman, Aaron, Dax, Devin, NYC Burrito, Little Rat Lotad, Frank, Scoob, HZ, and Too Much Do. Thank you for all of your support.